Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Please sign my petition to abolish Thanksgiving and every other holiday on our calendar. Abolish them as federal holidays by leaving a dislike on this video. I'll talk about why in this video. I first noticed that we would be better off abolishing all of our holidays when I was only 11 years old, actually. What had happened was, so I was all excited about Thanksgiving. Might have been another holiday, but one of those big ones. And the day came, and my excitement quickly disappeared because I realized that the concept of having a day off of school was completely neutralized by the fact that everybody else had the day off, right? So, for example, a lot of times when I had a day off of school, my parents were working and I had the day to myself, right? I'm an introvert. So, other times, um, I would have a day off. My parents might have taken the day off too, but at least nobody else was taking the day off, right? The restaurants were open, right? My favorite theme park was open. It didn't have long lines to it. We lived in Pittsburgh. We had Kennywood Theme Park, right? Usually my dad would take a day off to take me there. And if it was like a Tuesday or something like that, nobody else was taking it. Very few people were taking a day off. You didn't have long lines, right? Unlike on a holiday where if the theme park were open, you'd have huge lines, and not to mention they might be closed, right? So restaurants were also like that, right? Some restaurants were incredibly busy, others were closed, right? You certainly can't go to like a Five Guys on Thanksgiving Day, right? And so I quickly realized that the whole concept of Thanksgiving got neutralized by the fact that everybody took it off. Right? I remember one Thanksgiving, I took a walk. My parents lived in a suburb of Pittsburgh called Murraysville, and I took a walk into the town area of Murraysville. We lived in Export, actually. I took a walk into Murraysville, and I couldn't even find a bathroom to use. I ended up having to pee in a bush, and on Thanksgiving Day. And it just goes to show that the whole concept of having a holiday completely gets neutralized by the fact that it's everybody's holiday, right? That's the point I wanted to make, right? Other days that you might take off don't behave like that, right? If you wanted to take your anniversary off, unless it just happens to be a holiday, if you wanted to take your birthday off, right? Unless you had the misfortune of being born on Christmas Day, right? There's a lot of perils to that, right? And it just goes to show that our days off could be a lot more. Now, am I ungrateful? Is that why I don't like Thanksgiving? Am I uh, do I have something against Christians and religion? Do I have anything against other holidays or Yom Kippur? No, I don't. What I have a problem with is government deciding what days we should take off, and the fact that when everybody takes it off, a lot of things that you wish you could have done are not available anymore. And that's what I have a problem with. Now, fundamentally, here's an easy question for you. Who do you think can better decide when to take a day off, right? So, for example, I teach at Central Arizona College. Do you think it would be better for me to negotiate with my higher ups and potentially my students? Hey, when's a good day that we should take a 3-day break? Is that more productive, or is it more productive for the federal government to step in and say these are the holidays, right? I just want you to think about that. Maybe a bunch of my students have a certain religion, or they worship something, or maybe there's a Taylor Swift concert that they'd like to go to in this area of town, right? You get the idea, right? Everybody has different localities will have different issues that they want to take a day off for, right? Now, what would I do? Would I work on Thanksgiving week if it weren't a federal holiday? I might, right? It depends on what my students think about it. Maybe I can convince my students that, hey, we could take a different week off where you could actually travel without the airline tickets being 5 times more expensive and without TSA being nearly as crowded. Oh, by the way, there's a Taylor Swift concert coming up in like 2 weeks after Thanksgiving. Maybe you would prefer that week off instead of Thanksgiving, right? I think that's a decision that could be better made on a local level. And so I hope you will join me in signing this petition to abolish federal holidays by leaving a dislike on this video. And by the way, there are certain anniversaries that I would like to celebrate, right? I had a really good time 5 years ago on a very special anniversary. It's next month, and I'll get to it when we come closer. And so I'd much rather be doing that. I had a really good time. It was or 4 years ago. It was just around the time that we reopened from COVID in Seattle. And I had a really good time, and I'd much rather do that. Right? Had it been on Thanksgiving Day, some of the places I went to might not have been open, and certainly the mood would have been very different. And we can still celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas and all the other holidays, but if we celebrated it asynchronously, right, we could get a lot more out of it. And I think the people can make better decisions on when their holidays are. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.